Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another review. So this is the continuation, of course, of my reviews for the Hannibal Lecter films. These will be the last two reviews that I'll be doing for today. Well, for the Hannibal Lecter series, I should say, if I can talk right. But of course, I've reviewed Manhunter and The Silence of the Lambs. So I have this cough going on, sorry. I have to keep clearing my throat. But like I said before, these are the last two reviews I'll be doing for the Hannibal Lecter films, because I'm only going from Manhunter to Red Dragon and all that stuff. Hannibal Rising I was not a fan of, I just don't want to waste my time on that. So like I said before, I've reviewed Manhunter and The Silence of the Lambs. So now, of course, let's get on to the next film of the Hannibal Lecter series, and that, of course, is this one, Hannibal. Now, Hannibal was released in 2001, 10 years after The Silence of the Lambs. Stars Anthony Hopkins once again as Hannibal Lecter. This time, Jodie Foster does not reprise her role as Clarice Starling. Instead, you have Julianne Moore in the role. And you have a great supporting cast. You have Frankie Faison returning as the Barney character, Ray Liotta, among others. Music by Hans Zimmer. Directed by Ridley Scott. Now, Ridley Scott as director, going into the director Ridley Scott, I do enjoy Ridley Scott as a director. Blade Runner, Legend, Gladiator, Alien. I mean, I enjoy Ridley Scott as a director. And I remember when he was first approached to do the film, I know he didn't want to do it at first because he thought it was like, when they said Hannibal, they thought it was like the historical Hannibal with the elephants and things like that, because around this time he was doing Gladiator, and he said to them, I don't want to do another film like that, I'm just coming off Gladiator, I don't really want to do another film like that. And they're like, no, this is the sequel to The Silence of the Lambs. And then Ridley Scott got the job. And Hannibal is a film that I like. I do like the film. I wouldn't say I like it as much as Manhunter or Silence of the Lambs, but I think this film is pretty decent. It's a pretty decent movie. There's some things about it, though, that I didn't really care for that much. But, I'm sorry. Like, basically it's all about Hannibal Lecter comes out of hiding, and then, of course, one of his friends that he used to, like, one of the people that he used to know, Mason Verger, played by Gary Oldman, wants to try to capture him, and Mason Verger, in order for, and then, of course, gets the attention of Clarice Starling, and then from there, things spiral from there. But Hannibal is a film that I do, like I said, I do like, but I do have a couple issues with the movie. First off, getting off to the cast, Anthony Hopkins, once again, reprising his role as Hannibal Lecter. I think Anthony Hopkins does a really good job, once again, as Hannibal Lecter. And Julianne Moore does a really good job as Clarice Starling, though at the same time, I kind of wish it was Jodie Foster, so that way there's no continuity thing, because it's the same character, but it's not the same actress playing it. So, but I think, before I get on to that, I know there was a little bit of controversy with this when the novel came out, because the novel had like the idea of like Hannibal, like Clarice Starling really appreciated Hannibal Lecter by the end, and they ran away as lovers and all that stuff. So there was a lot of people who were kind of up in arms when the novel came out. But that's not the way the movie ends, though, which I think is for the best. But getting onto like Jodie Foster, I know she was, I think she was supposed to do this, but like they don't. I'm not sure if it was like a money issue or she wasn't a fan of the plot. If she wasn't a fan of the plot, she was probably thinking of the way the novel ended, which is not the way the movie ends. So maybe she was probably thinking of the movie was going to be more like the novel, where they run away as lovers and all that. But that didn't happen. But nothing against Julianne Moore, though. I like Julianne Moore as an actress. I think she does a really good job in the film, but still at the same time, I kind of wish it was Jodie Foster, so that way it can not have a big continuity thing going on. But Julianne Moore does a really good job. Ray Liotta, of course, you know, being a bad guy like he always is. I mean, he's always really good at it. And Gary Oldman as Mason Berger, really good job. Gary Oldman is really, really creepy in this movie and all that stuff. And like I said before, I do like the film, but the couple issues I have with it, it's a 2-hour and 11-minute movie, and it kind of felt that way. I felt like there were some moments in the film where it kind of slowed down a little bit and kind of dragged. I mean, like, Manhunter was about 2 hours long, but I think Manhunter kind of flowed better. Like, it went at a better pace. And I think with this one, I think the whole subplot with this one guy trying to capture this one guy, I forget really what the whole subplot was. Like, I think it's with the Giancarlo Giannini character. Like, his whole subplot was about, like, 30 minutes, and it kind of felt pointless. I thought that kind of slowed the film down. And on top of that, too, sometimes in the film, there's, like, the tone keeps switching. Sometimes it's, like, a dark thriller, and then sometimes it wants to be, like, a dark comedy. So it kind of, like, the tone's kind of all over the place in a way. But, like, they're, like, the only main two issues I have with the movie. Because there's some interesting stuff in the film, like interesting kind of like ideas, like the end, like says it here on the back, the ending you'll never forget, where Anthony Hopkins has like Ray Liotta's brain, and very, very weird ending. So you do have some interesting ideas within the movie and all that stuff. And Ridley Scott, I think, did a really solid job directing this. I do think sometimes Ridley Scott, though, kind of overcooks the runtime a little bit, and he kind of falls victim to that a little bit. I mean, I think the perfect example of that's Alien Covenant. I'll tell you what, the first time I saw Alien Covenant in theaters, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was decent, and then, like, the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, no, And I remember when I was sitting in Alien Covenant in the theater, I mean, like, I remember just, like, kind of sitting there with my hand on my face, like, okay, it's dragging a little bit, let's move it up, let's move a little bit here. I kind of felt the same way with this one, because, like, it's a 2-hour and 11-minute film, there were some moments in here that didn't need to be in the movie, like the whole 30-minute subplot with the Giancarlo Giannini character, and all that stuff, but, like, those issues don't really hurt the movie for me. I think it's a well-made film. I think the actors do a really good job. It's got a pretty decent music score by Hans Zimmer. And I do think Ridley Scott did a solid job directing this. And I like the two I like the two leads, Julianne Moore and Anthony Hopkins. And Julianne Moore's character in the film is not a pushover. She's a really tough woman. She's not a woman that will be trampled on, which I like. I like strong female characters, so that's pretty good. I like that. And of course, Anthony Hopkins is fantastic once again as Hannibal Lecter. And you know, I don't really know what to say more about the film. It's really hard for me to review the film like much further without spoiling a whole lot. But I think Hannibal is a pretty decent movie. I like the film, but I think there were some things about it that could have been cut out or something like that. But still, at the same time, that doesn't really hurt the movie for me. I think it's a pretty decent movie. It's a pretty decent flick. And in case you're wondering, this is a 2-disc special edition, which has a ton of features on it. Never before seen alternate ending with commentary, 35 minutes of deleted scenes with commentary with Ridley Scott, 5 making of featurettes, trailers, TV spots, and poster concepts, a lot more stuff on this 2-disc edition DVD. See, it's a 2-disc. So yeah, I'm not going to say much more about Hannibal. I think it's a pretty decent film. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it maybe a 7.5 out of 10. So that is it for my review for Hannibal. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned for the last review of the Hannibal Lecter films that I'll be doing, and that will be Red Dragon. So thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.